All right, WVU football going deep. Forrest Poston, you've heard that before, unless you're new here. Talking today about spring game hopes and expectations. That, of course, is coming up this Saturday, starting, well, it's ESPN Plus coverage starts at noon Eastern, kickoff shortly after that. Now, of course, the two things with spring game, one is that you don't see everything full speed. They did do a fair amount of tackling, even some blitzing last year, and I think they're going to continue that this year. Don't think we will see much in terms of special teams. Doubt that there will be any kickoff returns or kickoffs at all, for that matter. And it's always, in some respects, the ideal would to see nothing happen because the offense and defense are both extremely good and yet perfectly matched. Now, that doesn't make a very good game. And you don't know whether it happens because they're both very good or both very bad. So, what am I hoping to see? What are some of the things that I think will give us an idea of where the team stands, where they need to go, and what that may mean for the season? Starting with the defense, I want to see French and TJ Jackson get into the backfield at least once. That's what they are here for primarily. Now, obviously, I don't want to see them, flying free every time. I don't want to see them injure Greene. But I do want to see them manage to put some pressure on. Now, of course, I'd like to see some of that from the rest of the linemen. But these are the guys who have been brought in. We need to know what's up with them. And, of course, we'd like to see some of the new guys like Kinsler, Gabriel. Are they going to step up? Because, we've got Redwood and now McIntyre out with injuries. Redwood should be back either for the beginning of the season or shortly thereafter. I think he's expected back maybe for fall camp. McIntyre, we don't have word yet, but the supposition so far is bad. Probably season ending. Have to wait and see. I don't know if he has actually gotten the detailed examination yet. While they wait for the initial swelling to go down. Linebackers are going to be critical. They were a big problem last year. They should be possibly the strongest part of the defense this year. Big turnaround there. They're going to be playing a little bit differently. Mostly downhill between the tackles, sort of more traditional. I want to see him hit the gaps hard and fast and accurately. Hitting the wrong gap was a problem last year. Now, of course, Trotter wasn't there to do it. I expect, I don't expect mistakes from Trotter, or very few. The ones he makes, should be just over effort. But and of course I want to see solid tackles, straight up, straight on, and again, not injuring anybody, but letting them know they've been hit. Ideally, I would like to see linebackers in the passing lanes when they're supposed to be there. That was missing gaps and not getting in passing lanes were the two issues from linebackers that killed the defense the second half of the season once Lathan went down. Um, Defensive backs. I'd like to see some man coverage. I'm pretty sure they plan to do that in the season. Don't know if they'll want to show it this early. Even though any team that's paying attention should be expecting it. So maybe we'll see some man pressure. I want to see an interception. I want to see a well-thrown ball by Garrett Greene get intercepted by good coverage and a good move by a defensive back, so that it's all just skill on skill, and I want a defensive back to show that they can win some of those. Now I want to see the receivers win others. I want to see, some closing speed that tips the ball away. Of course, we actually had that in our starting corners last year. We just didn't have, enough corners. And again, the safeties were at a major disadvantage when the linebackers weren't helping out. And I want to see a really solid hit from defensive backs, especially the new ones. Now, so I don't know if Crandall will be playing. He's been nagged by an injury, and he's the younger. He's more the future player, and spells us out. So, of course, we saw Miller last year. Then he went down the first game. Like to get a good look at where he stands. Actually, I think, Trotter went down before the spring game last year, I think. So this will be our first time to see Trotter. That's back to the linebackers, but hey, just thought of it. So, I want to see things tight. I want to see good play. Who wins varies, but I want to see, good, tight coverage, strong hits. Offense. Okay, all I want from the offensive line is solid play. And that is, of course, clean snaps. And that will, including Livingston. And if we get a third guy in there at center, it'll be interesting to see who it is. Several guys have gotten snaps at center, but we don't know currently who the third guy would be if necessary, and hopefully it won't be necessary. But I don't want to see a lot of blocking screw ups. I don't want to see the line getting beat consistently, and that includes backups. I'd like to see backups on both sides of the line going against the ones opposite at times. I'd like to see defensive backups against the first line offense. I'd like to see offense backups against first line defense, but I don't know how they're splitting the teams. We may be divvying it up so that it's fairly even. We're not necessarily going to see full one-on-ones. What little bit I've seen about how they're, setting up the game, didn't mention that. I want to see receivers win some contested catches. I want to see that added strength that we've heard about. We've heard about added speed as well. And, since, Hudson Clement last year was almost as fast as Horton. Horton was number one, but Clement supposedly improved his speed through, putting the time and effort into the workouts. Maybe that's something Horton didn't do, but we've lost Horton to the portal. But if Clement is faster than he was last year, then he's as fast as Horton was last year. And he already ran better routes than Horton. Ray has some speed. Let's not forget that he was a more frequent deep threat than Horton was. And everybody loves speed, but give me route running and hands. If I've got to choose between speed, route running, and hands, speed is third on my list. Okay, you don't want turtles, but not everybody has to be a rabbit. Okay, we're going to see some Jaheim White, and you'd like to see him break a run. I don't know how much we'll see of him. I think Anderson, well, of course, White and Anderson probably will be on opposite sides, I would guess. I'm not sure. I want to see Clay Ash. We keep hearing about him. How good does he look to be? Not necessarily as fast as White, but, he may be the big steal among the walk-ons. I would assume we'll see Ash and Anderson a lot. I don't know who the fourth back will be. Judah Price had a bit of an injury issue last I heard. I don't know how that went. He may be ready to play. And then where do we go? We've got Colin McBee. We've got a couple of walk-ons back there. With the quarterbacks, I want to see Garrett Greene complete multiple touch passes. The swing passes, the short passes. I want to see him be quick on the decisions, patient, accurate. If he misses on deep balls, I don't care. We know he'll get back to that if he's off. But multiple touch passes that look clean. Marchiol, I want to see the improvement the coaches have talked about. They say he's making better decisions, making them faster, playing with confidence. And last year he did not move with confidence. His body language was off last year. His footwork, even if I don't know if it was accurate, but it was not crisp. So I want to see Marchiol play crisp and quick. And of course, show some touch passes. And that's actually been an issue with Marchiol as well. With some screen passes, swings, he's missed and made some bad decisions. So I would like to see that step up. I'd like to see Marchiol at least to the point Greene was this time last year, at least. And I do want to see multiple possessions with Sean Boyle. He's the mystery. Yeah, he's third string quarterback. You're not going to see him a lot, but we just don't really have a clue. I want to see him come in and move well. I'd like to see signs that if he's not there, he's going to get there. Now, Boyle was on my list of 10 most likely to hit the portal. And shortly after the spring game, we are likely to see guys hit the portal. They've only got a few days after that to get in. Now, of course, by the time they can fill out the paperwork, it can still be a few days after the portal closes before we hear about it. unless they go on Twitter and tell us. I still consider Anderson and Boyle two of the most likely. Now, I didn't mention Jarrell Williams. And when I was talking about Horton hitting the portal yesterday, I did not mention Williams. I should have, because he's critical. We've heard really good things when people have talked about him this season, this spring. I would like to see him step up. He's been one of the guys I've expected to step up since he got here. I'm not going to take it as a personal insult if he doesn't, but I'd like to see it. But he still may be, tempted by the portal. Because, that receiver room, yes, it's young, but it is crowded and talented. They may go after a receiver in the portal, but I think if they do, it will only be if they can get somebody that meets Brown's 6'4" and above, that long receiver. Now, Cole Taylor is the closest thing we've got. And I'm not sure how tall Johnson is now that he's moved over to the receiver room. But I'm excited to see the spring game. I expect a really good game. And then we will have a kind of minor flurry of activity with the portal, guys leaving, and when the team is officially under the 85 limit, I think that's when we could see some quick activity from guys who've been offered. Whoever the guys they are really, really focused on most, which could be a defensive lineman to take McIntyre's spot. There's a good guy with 3 years left out there. There's or that's actually offense. But the spring game signals the end of spring camp and then kind of the beginning of the portal season. And then we have to deal with that stretch through summer when we don't have all the camp stuff to talk about and we don't have much going on in the portal. I'll try to find something, and I expect I will, because you know how much I like to talk. All right, let me hear your thoughts, what you think, what you want to see or think you need to see out of spring camp. Who do you think is going to stand out? Who do you think is going to walk out? And I didn't say it earlier, but please subscribe, click thumbs up, click share, make those really great comments, and tell your friends that we're out here. And I'll be talking to you after the spring game. Got the live show coming up as soon as the spring game ends, whatever time that ends up being. So long.